Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smite Draft League Week 3 here, Godlike Division, Sunbreakers versus Eclipse. I'm Deelo, joined here by Fenix. Fenix, man, how we feeling?
We're feeling great about some godlike games. These are sometimes hard to come by considering all these players have really busy schedules and SOC sometimes and other competitive divisions, whatever they're in. But whenever we get one, it's a gift in the regular season because they're really, really fun to watch and cast.
It's a treat, man. You see the cream of the crop being played, being cast. It's going to be a fun time. And as we get into the P's and B's here, Phoenix, we're entering a new patch in Week 3. What changes do we expect to see as we see some old bans?
We do see some old bans. Bakasira and Kali already going away. I was going to say these two gods specifically actually both received nerfs. They were very minor nerfs, though. Still very scary in the jungle. Can be picked and be beaten, it feels like, in this current meta, but it makes sense to ban them, get rid of them. Let's go ahead and move on from the basic attackers. Ravana is also still in the meta right now. We're not seeing any mid bans still, besides the Hubwell, which is mainly a jungler, and so not too much in the current patch. I want to see what happens when Chiron comes into this game because he is super cool. I think you've seen him be played in like casuals and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's stomped my face in a few times, so certainly going to look forward to see other players on the receiving end of that abuse. Here is the Yorm ban going to lock out Eclipse's initials, and there's a mid ban for you, Baba Yaga being locked out.
Makes total sense. Baba Yaga is the most prominent mid laner right now. Can build Prophetic Cloak, you can build her tanky, you can build her full damage, you can build however you like to. With Ethereal Staff being nerfed, though, and not being built as frequently, I'm surprised to see Baba Yaga and the other Ethereal Staff user, Jormungandr, being banned. That item made those gods in some way. But as I just said, Ravana is still in the meta and can still be picked, so I'm not surprised to see Ravana first off the table for Eclipse.
And there's still a few more premier threats. Martikaros, notably, still on the board. And also some other good solo lane threats. Sun Wukong, perchance to match if this Ravana is indeed going to that lane. And there it's going to be met with the Sun Wukong indeed. I am a C2 now. Let's go. Predictability.
Congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
I was going to say, this is a RemarkableWolf game. You can see on the left side of your screen, this is Eclipse Godlike, which means that if it's Martikaros, we're going to see that would be very surprising for Eclipse. That is a Thor pick, great in the jungle right now. If you're not going to have a Ravana on your team, if you're not going to have the other two prominent junglers, Kali and Bakasura, on your team, Thor is your best ability-based god in the jungle in the current meta. I love to see this already going towards Sunbreakers. I want to see, do you think this Ravana is actually going into solo or into jungle? I don't know if you know much more information about this than I do.
I mean, listen, I just got my C2 graduation, okay? But that being said, we oftentimes do see Ravana going to the solo lane. I wouldn't be surprised unless there's anything else to indicate. But if Eclipse were to pull that little switcheroo, it's nice that they're keeping their cards close to their chest at the moment. And in fact, the Marty being picked here for Eclipse, you mentioned how potent RemarkableWolf is, of course, with the Rama. Does that mean the Marty might be going to the mid lane?
It might be, actually. Stages, I believe, is their mid laner on this team. Teddy in the jungle, ZombieBillyMays in the soul lane. And so, yes, this Marty might go mid, and it would make sense. But also, I've seen RemarkableWolf play different gods. We've seen him play the Jing Wei. We've seen him play the Hachiman. We've seen him play some other ADCs, because that's the only lane that he ever has played in the SDL. And it's been all right. It's been okay. It has never been the Rama appearance that he has, but it's still an ADC that he can play well and push forward throughout his team, because usually in Immortal last season, he was the winning factor for his team a lot of games.
I'm actually really thinking on it, the ambiguity of Eclipse's draft at this point, because Ravana, is it in the solo lane? Is Martikaros going to the mid lane? And it makes Sunbreakers bans have to go to points where they know they're still looking for gods. So the mid lane is going to be the center of their attention because they know they definitely don't. Oh, wait, actually, but they don't. They don't even know that is a thing. Marty could be going to the mid lane. They're just going to have to lock out what they think is off the board at this point, and that's going to be the Ao Kuang, theoretically maybe in the jungle, and the Giannis potentially in the mid. Eclipse going to round out their bans with the Set and the Agni. No bugs today.
Why the Set ban? Set ADC possibly is what they were trying to lean towards, because you have Sun Wukong in the solo lane, you have Thor in the jungle. So Set's
a very potent mid laner, actually.
Yeah, currently in the current meta, I suppose that Set has found himself in the mid lane building like warding sigil. It's been very unusual. But Don Zaburo has reappeared in this meta. In the last week, we've seen him come back with some different builds, and there it is. RemarkableWolf is back, baby. He's going to the ADC lane, Marticorous mid.
Eclipse has done exactly what I said they might be looking for. The ambiguity. They baited mid bans, not already knowing the mid had been picked in the Marty. Fantastic work there by Eclipse. You love to see the dueling of minds taking place in the P's and B's phase, not even in the game just yet. Cirquet gonna finish off their comp.
Another ability-based, kind of basic attack based if you want to land those big old crits with them, get some poison out. But another ability based jungler that is really prominent if you can get your team comp around it. Cirquet does require a little bit of assistance. Can't just go in there by herself like an Aweelix can or Thanatos can with that kind of sustain. But I do like the pick here. It's another CC with the taunt and the kiss, Cobra's kiss. And I'll move over to the right-hand side of your screen. Morgan Le Fay was the cap-off in the mid lane for the Sunbreakers. Really good pick, prominent in the mid lane right now. And a good answer to Marticorous because he can go up into the air and she can just go into that big old wah, wah, wah and sustain for a really long time.
Indeed. So gonna have to see how the battle of safety pans out. But enough talk. Let's get right into game one between these two beasts. Hello and welcome back everyone to the Smite Draft League Game 1 here of the Godlike division between Eclipse and Sunbreakers. Once again, I'm Deelo, joined here once again by Fenix. Now I'm just going to ask you, as I normally do, man, overall layout here, comp for comp, who do we think has the advantage?
I never bet against Teddy522. I love saying his name. I love saying it last season, so I'm going to have to go on the side of Eclipse for this comp. I did like their ambiguity, like you were saying before in the picks and bans, and it looks like it might work out for them. I hope it does.
I mean, they are able to put some early pressure here. Teddy is one who is no stranger to diving the back line, but of course, like you said, the wah, 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 Morgan Le Fay provides her some safety. So you're gonna have to try to bait out those long CC immune abilities to ensure that Teddy can do his job.
Teddy doing his job is the most important thing if you're an Eclipse fan, but also we see this dual lane already having some pressure. If RemarkableWolf can go out and start to win his lane, it's basically curtains. You can go ahead and call it a game because it feels like whenever he comes out of lane with even more than 3 or 2 kills, he is a dangerous person to be walking into mid lane, especially now in this current meta with what we call the Stygian Beacon.
Indeed. So with that in mind then, as we see stages, maybe caught on a bit of position here. Berserker's Barrage and the Warding Sigil, solid damage and gonna finish it off with a nice sword swipe basic attack. Garrett gonna pick up first blood for the Sunbreakers. Unfortunate kill there, but returning back. So then is the question that Teddy should be enabling the RemarkableWolf by rotating over the dual lane, or do we have faith in our carry to succeed?
We're not going over a solo lane if we're Teddy, because that lane is kind of just going to be a smack type of lane. You're going to keep hitting each other. Maybe there will be some opportunities, but you have to have some Wukong ult not be up, and here we go.
There's going to be the smackdown provided by Sam Squared. Gonna pick up a nice kill onto the Ravana. Bodes well for you, but meanwhile on the other side lane, the Elephant's gonna be trophy hunted there by the Tanuki. That's unfortunate to see, but overall support for solo will take the support falling on the side of Eclipse.
3-0, already going the way of Sunbreakers. This is something I did not expect to see coming out of Eclipse. I had already put my bets onto Eclipse with their current, composition. It's just not going out this early game for them, already behind by about a K. I would hope to see some aggressive plays here from Teddy522, but he's currently at his own speed buff while blue buff is spawning in, and the other 2 speeds are up on Sunbreaker's side. So no challenge here from Teddy. This is a very unusual play. But here's the challenge from CodeSter, though.
They have the ability now with that natural pressure afforded by winning that 1v1, steal away that blue buff. And that spells some really bad news here for ZBM as he tries to take aggression to the other blue buff. But who's here now? It's the Thor. You wasted a bit too much time. Up down's been already expended, but so have a lot of abilities on the Thor. What will this duel result in? He's really dedicating all resources to try to finish this blue buff off and afford himself some of the pressure he lost. Going to actually get the steal off, so some steal for counter steal, but will it all be worth it? Can't use that blue buff if you're dead, my friend. Tiger form used, but here comes the leap from the Surcat, is indeed an ambush, and a solid double kill there on the Ravana to afford some pressure back to Eclipse.
ZombieBillyMays held that for so long, and a great rotation here from AyeGarrett. Teddy 5-2 finds himself into a rough position. Will he be able to escape? For now, he will, but ZombieBillyMays is not done. Says he wants to fight even more, which is something that we've been saying for the last 2 minutes, it feels like, but it's only been 30 seconds. Great play there by ZombieBillyMays. ZBM played out of his mind, even though he was not punished. But the no mana on Sun Wukong, SalmonSamuel had nothing to pay with. He had no Tiger form, no cudgel over the head. So with that, you kind of can just stand there as a Ravana with immunity and say, what are you going to do about it, huh? What are you going to do? And they can't do anything about it. Steal the blue buff, get 2 kills, Eclipse right back into this game.
Now Sunbreakers trying to mount a bit of a counter offensive here over the shield buff. I gotta say, I didn't have faith that ZBM would survive that encounter, but having faith in the natural tankiness of Ravana, as well as your ability to up down large percentages of the damage that you're being incurred on, was able to stall for long enough for a fantastic rotation from Teddy. That's just good game awareness and awareness of the strengths of your god and the strength of your own play. If they can keep that up, they can certainly reverse the pressure that Sunbreakers had in the first 2 minutes.
I won't talk too much about it. I love SalmonSamuel going Phalanx here. This is a newer type, it's not a new item, but it just feels like a really strong item in comparison to Gladiator Shield right now. But I'll pause on that because of this.
Coaster is going to get really bursted down, but the Ohm had already been expended, so did have the Mjolnir's attunement to get to safety. When it just comes to jungle scrapping here, who do we think wins when it comes to the first blow? If Surcat and Thor find each other in a dark alley, who's got the edge?
It should always be Surcat. Surcat should be winning 1v1s duels in a dark alley. But in team fight situations, it's always going to go the way of Thor. And we might have to go find out a little bit about that right now. As we see, Kenny's kind of getting caught out.
And yeah, he's already expended the Riptide and going to be put back with a kiss on the forehead. Just going to try to put a blanket up of the Rib's Rebuke to save yourself. Going to get to the tower safely. Death from above going to put some solid damage on the members, but not enough to save. Jordeezzyy brought down once again by the Morgan Le Fay. Tossed back as well by the Riptide. Might want to talk to your Emoja about tossing you out of position there. Gonna teleport aggressively back in. Deathbane gonna indeed bring about the death of Codester. Just getting a bit too eager for his own good. Gonna put a kill back onto the side of Eclipse. Stage is going aggressive. Might look for the kill onto Kenny, but KillCam might be put back onto your head instead. A killing spree for the Morgan Le Fay. Fantastic job by Garrett and a great bait by the Emoja.
You asked me if Surcat and Thor found each other in a dark alley, what would happen? That dark alley was the mid lane right there. And Surcat found the Thor and got the kill. I think that's how it's supposed to look like. If ThyCodester would have landed a 3 or 4 man ultimate in the mid lane there, I think that fight would have went a little bit different, but I think instead he only landed it on 1 right now. So I hope to see Coaster possibly have more opportunities to land bigger and better ultimates. It's just got to appear for him with the Emoja. Riptide is a great ability to set up for an easy, big ol' wham from the sky. And that's what Coaster can do. But Surcat cannot do that same thing come team fight time.
If you're on the Sunbreakers, you got to make sure your whams and your wah-wah-wahs are all on point. The automatopoeia is certainly going to be important. We talked about the win conditions here of Eclipse, and one of them being RemarkableWolf here on the Rama. Do we think when it comes to just the matchup, if these two are left to themselves, CJ Lopez, oh, hold on a second, Stages being left at the mercy of the Sunbreakers here on this Pyromancer? No, it's not even a Pyromancer yet. Why are we expending our lives for these, my friends? Gonna be brought down once again by the MLF. AyeGarrett is just going off.
Stages is not feeling like he's playing in a proper position, but here's Teddy 5-2 onto AyeGarrett. Will give him the Cobra's Kiss, but will it be enough? As Garrett is running around, it will be enough. Teddy 5-2 will secure a kill in the mid lane, a trade back for the loss of his own mid laner. Stages finds himself in bad positions 2 or 3 times already in this match. The first kill was very early, at only a minute, so the other 2 kills were much more, I would say, and just being improperly positioned as a Marticarus. You're not a Scylla, you're not a Giannis especially. You're a physical ADC with little to no escape. Hovering Death is not going to be enough to get you out of some of these really high damaging gods, such as Morgan Le Fay.
Absolutely, and especially with the dive potential their team has, they can chase you. Yes, Death from Above is a fantastic
Sorry,
self-banish
how
safety
dare you.
tool, but it doesn't last forever. Once you land, you still have to contend with the forces at bay, so hopefully going to see some more careful play here from Stages and more coordination from the team to protect the Marty. So returning back to my original question here, Rama versus the Denzaburo. What are our thoughts on that matchup and how it pans out if these two are left to their own devices?
Still back there from SalmonSamuel. I'll comment on that real quick, and there might be a rotation here. I would love to see Denzaburo be able to do more against Rama, but because it's RemarkableWolf, we cannot doubt just the fact of it's a person who's played this god, has over 20 stars on this god. It's just, that's a different level of play. It's not just like who's Rama, who's Denzaburo, who wins that matchup. It's about who has the more understanding and mechanics of their god, and I have to give it to RemarkableWolf because that is, we know him because of this god. But if this is just like a sit down, these are two random players, they're totally equal, have never touched the game before, or whatever you want to say, whatever level they are, they're the exact same, I would have to give it to Denzaburo. I love Denzaburo because he is one of the best duelists right beside Uller.
He's also just really tricky and fun to watch. The Uproarious Rocket, such a kooky ability to watch be expended. It can be a great initiation. It can also be a great means of escape, or you can just set it off on its own for the auto target. There's a lot of options, a lot of wily play you can see here. Hopefully CJ Lopez going to expend it well. We talked a lot about returning to the idea of win conditions. The win conditions for Eclipse being Teddy and Rom. Let's return to the Sunbreakers. What is their key path to success here?
Key passes 6. I've said his name a couple of times now. It's going to be KodSter. We're going to have to land some big ultimates there. But also, this rotation coming out from the solo lane of SalmonSamuel will have to be a strong rotation. And that's you're going to see this very soon. This is not something that's going to come in like 10 minutes from now. This will come in about 3 minutes. If we see him rotate to the beacon as well as the rotation come from Denzaburo, from Lopez, from CJ Lopez, that would be the sign of Sunbreakers playing this properly. And that's what you need to see from Sunbreakers if they want to keep this lead, this very minor lead. It's only about 500 gold, 600 gold right now. But if they want to keep it, they have to make these rotations clean and crisp.
It's always a big question on these first beacons whether the extreme side lane members decide to amble on over to the mid, because some people are still a bit lukewarm on the idea of that. But I don't know, they might need to follow your advice there, Fenix. I'm hoping that they'll have some tight coordination and comms to ensure success. As we see Eclipse rotating, members strong, try to catch CJ Lopez. This could be troublesome. Gonna put the Death Fame, but not too much damage. He's owned down, but body blocks aplenty. Has to expend the beads, putting down taunt just to give himself some space, and now going to use that Nuki Madness just to get himself out there, take the form of a leaf, and that's a solid escape. But Animal of Dawn being expended maybe didn't have the range or just the gumption to initiate onto the two retreating members of Eclipse. A lot of stuff down on the side of Sunbreakers that could come up big when it comes to the fight around the beacon.
Yeah, and Teddy and CJ Lopez both lost half of their health bar right there. This is a good rotation here for either team still. As I said, that's what Sunbreakers need to do, is make a humongous rotation out of both the solo and the dual lane to make sure they get this first Stygian beacon and possibly take that into a Gold Fury. On the side of Eclipse, they're a little bit behind right now. What we want to see is them focusing on getting 3 or 4 man group up picks. They want to get picks. And so that means doing exactly what they did, going to the left lane and trying to find CJ Lopez in a bad position, or you can do that same thing for the mid laner or anywhere else. Just get that first kill. And here's the beacon.
It seems the solo laners are intent on staying completely put at the moment. They have faith, at least Sam does, in his team to just grab this, and doesn't seem like Eclipse can really stand to put up much of a fight. Chaos, with no issue, going to grab themselves the first beacon.
They didn't need to make that big rotation. I was over here pumping up SalmonSamuel that he was going to make a humongous rotation 20 feet away or whatever and try to get it to happen. ZombieBillyMays going to go under pressure this blue again.
But doesn't have Serket this time to make the rotation quite far off the map, but having faith once again in your god. Hopefully going to succeed, not quite. This time the blue does go the way of the Sunbreakers, and they're just going to completely disengage, not knowing what Serket may lurk in the jungle.
Serket might lurk. This is a little bit too late to start a fight at the beacon, Eclipse. What are we doing now? This is what you guys should have been doing.
After lost time, I guess. But
yeah,
it's more fluff than anything. You can't do much damage at this point. Stages has been put underneath into the ground for too long at this point to really make too much happen on his own. With Serket rotating in, though, could be a different story.
it could be a different story. And there we go. Death from above. I will call it the right thing this time. AyeGarrett has been peeled out thanks to a wonderful looking wave that will crash, and CodeSter lands onto Jordeezzyy.
Speaking of crash, that was fantastic awareness that the fight was going to keep going on for a decent amount of time. Sunbreakers had enough extension there to give themselves a nice solid kill onto Jordeezzyy. Just, you got to know when to hold him, you got to know when to fold him. And unfortunately, Jordeezzyy going to be folded in half thanks to the Thor.
I wanted to take this away real quick. That's a great kill in there from Sunbreakers in the mid lane. I wanted to look at this dual lane because they're building very differently, and I understand exactly why they're doing it. We have Death's Toll on our RemarkableWolf, and then we have Gilded Arrow currently on the Donza Burrow going directly into Fail Not. This is a crit build coming out from Donza Burrow and CJ Lopez. You got to be aware of that if you're on the side of Eclipse. Spectral Armor is going to have to come out at some point, whether it's right now or in 10 minutes or so, because when he rotates out of this lane, he's going to start hitting for 300, 400 possibly on some of these squishies.
Sam Squared trying to do his best imitation at this point, grabbing that blue buff, but with the rotation lurking from Jordeezzyy, this could be a bit more than you bargained for. Be careful, my friend. But noticing that big rotation, Sunbreaker's going to have their own initiation onto the far more important objective. RemarkableWolf standing firm, though, has the snipes available and takes to this guy. Do you have the damage to confirm and steal it away? Puts a few into the back of the Fury, but it's not going to be good enough. But here's the initiation from the mid laner. Teddy's arrived as well, but here comes the Anvil of Dawn, landing right on Teddy's head. Beads to match, Cobra's kiss, and a kiss on the forehead. Gonna finish off CodeSter. Dark Alley engagement not quite working for the Thor this time around. Sam Square takes to the skies as well in commemoration of his fallen jungler. Nice sigil there just to get some more damage onto the solo laner. RemarkableWolf just gonna be slinging arrows from afar. Fantastic positioning from the carry, but the members of Sunbreakers still standing pretty firm with health bars. Sam Squared, never mind, can't say the same thing. RemarkableWolf gonna be able to pick that one up onto Sam Squared, and this just gives Eclipse the call forward to continue the pushing. KillcamKenny is going to be looking next on the chopping block. Rolling Assault is going to put some more basics into your back. Stages can get this one. All my homies eat. Fantastic work to even the kill board 7-7. But the remaining members of Sunbreakers might still look for something here. Uproarious Rocket going to catch the mid laner off the back end. But you might be paying for your sins there, my friend. Out of mana, out of life. CJ Lopez goes down alongside Garrett. CodeSter's back in the fight, gets revenge onto Teddy after being brought back from the grave, but will fall once again, this time at the crime of RemarkableWolf. Just an absolute slaughter here, and the Fury's the only one who can remain alive. Oh my gosh.
Was that like a 4 for 6 or something like that?
Because I have no idea, but the numbers are now in Eclipse's favor, which is a change up from before. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's all you should know, because Eclipse played that very clean. I want to give a shout out to RemarkableWolf there, because not only was he getting the kills, but he was targeting really well. He was targeting the right people at the right times, and I'm guessing he was making some really big calls about where people should be focusing as far as targeting goes, as well as we need to get off of this objective. And that was a great play. To keep in mind, that started with Gold Fury going the way of Sunbreakers, or not going the way of Sunbreakers, but almost going the way of Sunbreakers into Eclipse, taking a humongous fight and taking advantage in this entire game right now. Put themselves a K ahead in gold, as well as the Gold Fury is still on the table for their taking.
But at this point, the question is, do you decide to 50-50 that? A lot of abilities have been expended. A lot of relics are still down too, especially on the side of Eclipse. Do we risk it, or do we just keep the farm game up?
Ooh, we probably need to do a little bit of both. We need to be able to be at the Gold Fury within a snap of a finger, but also we need to go ahead and keep leveling up here. Level 17 RemarkableWolf is something that you do not want to ignore if you're on the side of Sunbreakers. That is really high for this game. Currently the highest level in this game. Right behind him, though, on the enemy team is, as you say, Sam Squared and CJ Lopez, who are both only a level behind. This beacon might be the next big fight to go to Gold Fury.
Stages once again going to have to take to the skies defensively, but decides to opt to return back to land a bit sooner than you might have planned there, my friend. Ooh, big double tap is going to eat more damage out of the Marty, and the shell going to have to be expended, as well as the Dharmic Pillars. Eclipse is throwing the kitchen sink at Sunbreakers, but they're not looking any worse for it. And the beacon opening up soon. There's a lot of stuff here in the map for Sunbreakers to take advantage of. Stages once again falling victim to a solid double tap, but a great Ohm going to ward off that pressure from CodeSter, to ensure the life beads expended as well. And now, once again, Sunbreakers take a crack at the Fury. Can they grab it this time? Teddy gonna attempt to steal. Not successful. Sunbreakers grab themselves the first Fury of the game. The beacon's now open. The question is, do we care about that or do we care about souls? ZBM going to opt for the latter, but maybe have to have second thoughts. Throw it back to the team. Sam squared, brought down instantly by RemarkableWolf. Solid work. The landing on the stages. The wall's off the mark. Coaster's gonna meet Teddy once again in a dark alley. And I don't think you like how that engagement goes, my friend. Another Cobra's kiss. And that's the kiss of death, all you need. Wah, wah, wah. ZombieBillyMays feeling the pain, but going to remain alive at the hands of the Morgan Le Fay. Stage is now on the front lines, just staying in the grass, trying to toss out some barbs. And this time, Eclipse will grab themselves the second beacon.
Pyromancer is going to be the call here from Eclipse, which is the smartest call we can do right now after losing the Gold Fury, but getting the beacon. This will bring you back ahead by about 2 to 3k, which is where they are standing right after doing it. You'll see the number here in just a second change, and there it is, about 2k difference. Stages, even though not presenting too well in the beginning of this game, has begun to show a bit more of that eagerness to win. I don't know what it is. I don't know if one of his team members said, hey, Bubba, we need to go ahead and destroy these people, and then he's actually starting to do some more damage. As you can see, the damage numbers, he's number 3. He's actually above RemarkableWolf, who I thought was the biggest attribute right now for Eclipse.
I mean, there's damage and there's closing. It seems that at the moment, RemarkableWolf is certainly going to be the closer. 4 kills with 0 deaths, certainly nothing to scoff at, but absolutely Stages is doing his part. For that entire fight, he was the zoner. He was keeping them at bay with the grass and the threat it presents, as well as the acid rain, so fantastic job. I was actually going to ask you, Fenix, just we talked about how their early engagements weren't quite going their way. All of a sudden, Eclipse starts to spell. There's amazing team fights for them. What happened? Where was the backslide? When did Sunbreakers lose their grip?
Maybe next time.
I think that Teddy522 might have woken up a little bit in the brain as far as like, I need to be focusing more than just CodeStir, even though we're seeing him still tunnel onto, yeah, he's still mollywopping CodeStir, but I don't think it's being the focus. And this is the other situation, is they're catching people out of position really well, including Kenny and Garrett. And they've done that, I think, the last 2 to 3 fights where they've picked one person, which has then rolled into more and more.
And they might try and get some more here. I want to give some credit to Jordeezzyy. Some of these ohms have been fantastic, not only for the offensive side as Thor takes to the sky, but they're grouping up. This could be troublesome if they're caught lacking. Gonna look for RemarkableWolf, but not quite find the stun on him. He's staying calm, cool, and collected, slinging basics at CodeStir, going to drop him Rampage for the Rama, and he's going to take to the skies to avoid the River's Rebuke and put more damage onto them. ZombieBillyMays is going to finish that one off. Garrett will be taken out. Once again an ohm, but a nice Riptide to toss him back into the tower. Jordeezzyy remains alive for now. They only have one patch of grass to play in, but that's plenty, they say. Going to jump in as Teddy find the damage onto the Danzaburo. Not quite enough, though, my friend. Do not want to meet the same fate as CodeStir. It's going to be 2 down on the side of Sunbreakers, and I believe they even got a tier 1 off that, but Eclipse might be staying a bit longer past their welcome. Riptide gonna keep him in place. RemarkableWolf going to fall. It's a double kill for CJ Lopez, thanks to ZBM as well. Uproarious Rocket going to fall onto the elephant. KillcamKenny left to deal with that, and Stages will be picked up as well. It's an absolute massacre. Can he escape? You're running out of ohm, but he's got no mana. Basic him down, Jordeezzyy. You have to do something, my friend. There's an elephant just watching down. It's a parade float. Thanksgiving Day parade from Macy's. There just is enough mana to finally put up a dash, but the Riptide, he's gonna have to walk around it and walk right into the Berserker's barrage. 4 down on the side of Eclipse. What looked like a beautiful fight all fell apart.
It took too big of a bite. Eclipse needed to back off after they got the 2 kills in the mid tower. Instead now, the Oni Fury will probably go the way of Sunbreakers as they begin to pull it right now. I would not be surprised if Sunbreakers are feeling pretty good. So they're probably going to go over to that Fire Giant and say, let's initiate the fight. Let's go ahead and start taking these fights forward. I don't know if it will work in their favor. Just because one fight went your way does not mean that every single fight is going to go your way. But Sunbreakers, realizing that Eclipse had overstepped and had taken a little bit too much of their space, is a great thing to do if you are Sunbreakers right now. You need to do that 1, 2, or 3 more times, I think, to be able to put yourself into a pretty comfortable lead, though. Eclipse, it's still looking good. Even though they made that mistake, I would call it a mistake right now. They can probably come back from this and take a really good fight at either the Fire Giant or in one of the lanes after clearing these Oni Fury waves.
Yeah, it's only about a 2,000 gold deficit here for Sunbreakers, and they still have 1 kill up, so hey, they can brag about that. Yep. But they do definitely, it's like I said, man, the song of the day is you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to walk away. Eclipse did not learn that lesson, and unfortunately paid a very hefty toll for it. Hopefully going to see a bit more cohesion as Teddy wraps around the back end. 3-man collapse onto CJ Lopez. Revenge for that double kill, my friend. Gonna put the last breath on him, but will he draw his last breath? Caught between the pillars as well as the River's Rebuke. CJ Lopez gonna be buried at sea. Stage is now in trouble though, has nowhere to go. The grave instead of the air will be his final resting place, courtesy of CodesTer. ZBM has joined the fight, gonna put some damage onto AyeGarrett. Caught between his own teammates, my friend. Those body blocks aren't looking on point. CodesTer gonna win the battle of the Dark Alley against Teddy. Killing spree there for the Thor. But Sunbreakers are looking a bit worse for wear, but it's only the front line remaining for Eclipse alongside RemarkableWolf. But once again, he's just enough presence, slinging those basics to try to keep Sam at bay. KillcamKenny as well on the fritz here. CodesTer trying to wrap around the right side, catches ZBM lacking, but the wall gonna keep Sam squared from doing much more about it, but just watching. Unfortunate fight there for Eclipse. I like the initiation on a CJ Lopez, but it took just a bit too much time and a bit too many abilities.
I think there's something really funny going on, which I haven't seen CodesTer land a single ultimate in the last 3 fights. Yet he still is placing himself in the perfect position every single time to get some kills. As SalmonSamuel was looking to get at least a little bit of a tap onto someone in the back of the tower. Not there for Jordeezzyy. Not going to die. Congratulations, Jordeezzyy. You survived to see another day.
Huzzah.
Beacon looking to be taken here right now by Sunbreakers. And as I was saying, I like that CodesTer, I don't like that he's missing ultimates, but I like that he's finding kills even though he is missing ultimates. That would be very demoralizing as a jungle player myself.
And now Sam squared, caught out a bit out of position, going to dash aggressively but not be punished too hard for it. But having the rest of the members of Sunbreakers leave, was expecting maybe a bit more of an initiation there, could have potentially caught the Sun Wukong lacking, and now Stages brought down half health, Pyromancer even less so. Sunbreakers going to grab that with 0 awareness from Eclipse, just lengthening that lead, now about 4K ahead. What can Eclipse do to reverse this tide? Is it a change of team fights? Is it a change of just rotational awareness? What do we need to be doing differently?
We need to be grouping up a bit more properly. We need to get these kills more efficiently. I think efficiency is the name of the game right now for them. And if they can do that, I think they can roll from there. I mean, SalmonSamuel is in such a bad position right now that I'm surprised he's not getting kills. They're letting them get away with murder, basically. When I say them, I mean Sunbreakers. They're letting Sunbreakers get away with murder. And they can't be doing that. They need to take those opportunities for kills and do them either very quickly or efficiently, which both can be hand in hand. But sometimes efficient kills are not like extremely quick. They're properly timed to be separated damage out onto AyeGarrett, onto KillcamKenny, and switching it around about who you target and getting them super low so they have to back to their base, and then it's a 4v5 and it's in your favor. And so taking fights that are in your favor and taking those fights efficiently are all that Eclipse need to do right now to take this game back in their favor. And this might be a good opportunity right here.
Titan Clash, always an opportune moment to see what metal lies on the battlefield. ZBM going to be the first one to the field, and Thor going to be the first one to the sky, I believe. That could be troublesome. Decide to land. No, actually, that was Stages. Sorry, wrong member going to be ascending, and now ThyCodester going to be descending to the grave once again, courtesy of Teddy. Your worst nightmare. Sam going to blink to the back just to put some fear into RemarkableWolf's heart, but he's still standing quite firm. But a great Riptide just going to displace him a little bit, catch him out with the Moonstrike. RemarkableWolf looking a bit worse for wear, but the Phantom Shell going to match the River's Rebuke. Wah, wah, wah. Some solid damage put onto the dual lane of Eclipse. They have to retreat from this fight, lest they be killed, just like ZBM. Jordeezzyy once again going to take a bit of a hike into Sunbreaker territory, and likely will fall short after for his crimes. Sam squared in heavy pursuit, gonna drop a ward just for funsies, and Jordeezzyy might actually survive this thanks to Teddy. Fantastic peel for your support. A bit of a Freaky Friday of rolls there. Do not back lazily, my friend. You might pay for it, and RemarkableWolf's going to be able to grab the opposing mid laner, but unfortunately, Stages will fall as well. And now it's just Teddy and RemarkableWolf. Can they deal enough damage to make up for the lack of numbers? It's now been evened up. Ohm down, and CJ Lopez will fall. Once again, you need to know when to hold him, when to fold him, when to riptide away. KillcamKenny gonna be put on the cam himself, courtesy of Teddy for the nice double kill and killing spree onto the Circuit. 3 down for Sunbreakers, 2 for Eclipse.
That's called efficient killing. You guys see how it was not fast, but it was efficient when it happened. You targeted the right people, you look at who you want to kill, and if you have to get off of them, it's okay. And you can tell people, hey, you one person go and take this, but there's someone up in the sky right now. Woo!
He's been dropped back down under RemarkableWolf's head, instantly taken out. The Ohm was a bit too late, my friend, but Coaster will fall in trade. Jordeezzyy might go down as well. Sam Squared was there to sweep it on up with just one hit of his cudgel. And ZBM no longer feeling confident in the 1v1 here. It's not the laning phase anymore. We need Teddy. We need the hero. He's going to be wrapping around. Sam Squared says, I want none of that business. I saw what you did to Codester. Teddy's not going to give him a choice, though. Just going to keep him in the fight for a little bit longer. But I'm not sure if there's no friends going to support ZBM. You need to get the memo. Back up your jungler a little bit, because now the other members of Sunbreakers are emerging from spawn. And the question is, where do we go from here? Does the FG dance resume, or do we just look for picks?
I think it's a little bit different from both. You got to look for the picks. If you're on the side of Eclipse right now, you need to get that one pick to be able to roll from there. Sunbreakers, on the other hand, can probably pull this Fire Giant with their team comp and feel comfortable pulling it and having SalmonSamuel, Sam Squared, go ahead and walk out of the base, and along with KillcamKenny could also walk out of there if you like to at the Fire Giant pit, and just take on the 2v5 and use all that CC that they do have and the space that they can create to allow the team to almost get this enhanced Fire Giant. We're about 30 seconds away from enhanced Fire Giant, which is a really big deal. Man, AyeGarrett getting caught out here possibly by ZombieBillyMays.
ZBM's been doing such a fantastic job just targeting the Morgan Le Fay, not letting her have a moment of peace, and that's just been keeping her under so much pressure. She still does have both relics, though, keeping safe in that manner. ZBM, not safe at all, gonna blink in the midst of 4, pay the price heavily for it. CJ Lopez gonna pick up that kill, and Eclipse now having to sound the horn for retreat, knowing that one of their tankiest members is no longer able to play the field at all. What can they do to just ascertain a bit more pressure now that they've lost one member?
Ooh, one member down. This is going to be a difficult thing to walk into. As I said, Sunbreakers can create space, and this is exactly what Sam is doing right now. I would not be surprised if I saw Kenny do that right now as well. ThyCodester up in the air.
This is troublesome. Doesn't land in hit 1, but we know his positioning is at least crisp. Gonna have to expend the Aegis there, I believe, to ensure his safety, but the FG is dropping low. Teddy's present, but Teddy doesn't have the damage or the life necessary to contest. Sunbreakers take down the EFG as well as the jungler. It's only the vestiges of the team left to try to do something on the back end, but RemarkableWolf can't oblige. The grass will be mowed by CJ Lopez, and Stages goes down as well. It's only the elephant, but the tiger going to be the king of the safari this time. Triple kill there for the Danzaburo.
This probably should be game with enhanced Fire Giant around their waist. Even though 2 towers stand, they are all full health thanks to the healing of KillcamKenny. ZombieBillyMays stands alone.
Unfortunately, in this game of Texas Hold'em, Eclipse is gonna have to hold the L. ZombieBillyMays going to be taken out as well. They've folded, they've holded. Sunbreakers have taken the time necessary to find their fight, and they're going to find the Titan as well. Game 1 goes to the Sunbreakers. Efficient fighting, man. Efficient fighting. It's what you said the entire time. Efficient fights are when you need a pick. It can take as much time on the clock as you need it to, but it needs to be efficient. And I think they managed exactly that on the side of the Sunbreakers. Fenix, talk to me about what happened here.
I was hoping that Eclipse would be able to do that, but instead it was more on the side of Sunbreakers, and I could not be more pleased with how they ended up taking those fights. Really great game there from Eclipse. Maybe we pick a mage in the mid lane next game. We're already looking towards the future because this is a best of 3 set. I would probably say that's one of the first things you want to do. Even though Marticarus got out a ton of damage, 28k, the most on his team. The third most in the entire game, right behind AyeGarrett and CJ Lopez on Sunbreakers. I would love to see a possible more highly mobile mage. I said Scylla and Giannis in the last game. I know that Stages has a pretty good Merlin as well, which is not an extremely highly mobile god, but a lot of damage with that little flicker. You can still get away from these bigger damages a lot more than Death from Above will allow you to escape.
Very true. I mean, there was a lot to love about Eclipse's draft. It was one fight away. That one fight was just huge enough that they pushed the margins enough that they had the time and damage necessary to grab the victory for the Sunbreakers, but they were playing clean. What does Eclipse need to take in a bottle and move to the next game that they did well?
They did well in the jungle mid play, the micro play, I would say for sure. We saw Teddy522 take a lot of good fights against Coaster in the early part of the game, as well as against the Morgan Le Fay that were going in her favor, or in his favor, because Teddy522 is a dude. He's that dude, actually.
He is that dude.
Last season, he for sure was that dude up against Rat Milk. That was a really cool. Keep in mind that Teddy522 was a part of the winning team, correct? Yeah, Rat Milk was in the second place team. He was on Sunbreakers and was a dominant jungler the entirety of the Godlike season. I like seeing him on this team, and they did play it very well. So I think we take whatever Teddy522 did this last game and just bring it to this one.
Maybe Teddy's just holding back a little bit because he's going up against his former team, the former colors, the orange and black. It's hard to go up against your former franchise. So maybe Teddy needs to kind of unlock that 8th chakra to get himself fully online here. But fantastic play to him. It's sad because I really loved Eclipse's draft and the ambiguity of it and how it really messed with the heads of the Sunbreakers. But sometimes trickiness doesn't get you all the way there unless you're a Tanuki. So hopefully Eclipse also just going to have the gameplay to capitalize on whatever they put together here. Sun Wukong going to be a ban. What are our thoughts on that target?
Makes total sense. We want to get rid of that Sun Wukong. It did feel like it was a bit more of a problem than it should have been, I guess, from Samuel, because it didn't feel at first like it was going to be an issue. We saw Ravana up at the blue buff just taking blue buffs for the free of it with a jungler there. It was like, okay, well, Ravana's going to roll this game. ZBM's going to roll. But instead, actually going to remove his own Ravana this game, not going to let it be picked by either team as well. So Sun Wukong and Ravana, this is going to be a new soul lane.
I mean, it makes sense to take out the Ravana. We've seen it first picked so often. Eclipse did it themselves. So, hey, we're just going to say none of that for us. And Sunbreakers say, okay, we'll take the Marty instead. So that's a solid pick for your name. It's going to be a meta threat. Hopefully they can put it to use a bit better than we saw Eclipse putting it to use.
I was going to say, this is actually kind of funny. You said Teddy522 can't kill the orange and black, but Norkin RemarkableWolf seeing his old team as well, championship of Immortal last season. I want to talk about this Thor pick. This is a switch, I believe, because Coaster was the Thor in the last game, but we know Teddy522 has a good Thor, but also Teddy522 has every god is a good god for him. But this one specifically, we have seen before in the previous season where it was in dominant fashion, walking down, especially he likes to get good ganks onto that dual lane. So I expect to see some ganks on the dual lane from Teddy522.
And why do we think we've just moved away from this circuit? Given that it was so successful, was there reason to change this? You know, they say, if a bridge ain't broke, don't fix it. But it seems that the Thor is going to be a bit more preferred.
I think it's just a higher meta pick right now. It's higher priority instead of over Circuit. Circuit might have been more of a pocket pick for Teddy522, but I don't see it that often in ranked matches. I don't think it's that high as far as junglers go. It's not especially as high as Susano. And I don't want to talk about Thor anymore because there is a very beautiful woman right there. Aphrodite was picked.
Season of Hope making a return, and Fenix is having some butterflies in his stomach because, yes, absolutely, God of Love and Beauty. Aphrodite making it to the scene. What are our thoughts on what she provides other than just, you know, knockout looks? Beautiful, beautiful.
Knockout looks and a great little bubble that you can put yourself into and not get hit for a very long time. And that's exactly what she's made for. She's made for the aura ability that she brings. Whoever she's kissed to is a great aura to have. But also, besides that, is whenever she walks around and does those big old heals, there are... it helps not only the ones she's kissed to, but the people around her as well because of these new passives on some of these items. Set was picked though, which we saw it banned last game. We're seeing it get picked this game. That could go into the mid lane, but I said, Eclipse, please pick a mage in the mid lane. They're just not listening to me. Come on.
I'm keeping my eye on you, Stages. If I see you do any wacky teleporting things, I'm insta reporting you to Noob. He's watching. You be careful. You be careful, buddy. But no, it's a good pick. Set absolutely really dominates when it comes to Martikaras. If that seems like it's going to the mid, and that Death from Above is going to be forced out so often. Set does so great at just walking down people.
Comes by night.
Set does walk down people. Speaking of walking down people, this one doesn't really walk down, but it dashes towards people. Xbalanque is going to be the pick here for Eclipse. Another physical heavy team. I don't want Ganesha to be your only mage. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't work in your favor last game. Let's get a real mage. You see, Sunbreakers knew what Eclipse should have picked. You see the Giannis ban? That would have been great on Eclipse's team right now. Bologna. This is a soul laner. Haven't seen her in a long time.
Interesting. So what is the logic here behind that? We've eliminated the entire solo lane of game 1, so they're just like, all right, back to the drawing board. Let's go back 5 seasons.
Yeah, I guess Stormcallers is a new team on our things. We don't see Chalk that often. We don't have a team named after Bologna as of yet, but we could. If we call a team Rona Invicta, if we'd like to. I don't know. I like the Bologna pick because of the current Phalanx build that you can go on her. And if you want to be really funny, you can go Cannoners, which is Cannoners is an item that if you kill a minion, it explodes. It's a very unusual item at that, but you can build it on Bologna. It's very funny to do, and it can be sometimes in your favor. I love the Hoombots pick as well on Sunbreakers. I'm all in on Sunbreakers this game, by the way. Don't even ask me. I'm all in.
Okay. All right. I will reserve my questions in game 2, but Agni on the reverse side, what are our thoughts on what that provides? Wait a second. Hold on a sec. So, okay, Agni mid. Set jungle for solo?
Thor solo. Okay, yeah, so you would put maybe or set solo. It's one of the two. So one of the two assassins. I would assume it's Thor solo. Thor solo probably is the best choice.
I'll be wacky and say set solo and then just for the sake of having some interest. But that's an interesting comp. What are our thoughts on the logic behind that?
I like the mage being picked. I'll stick to my guns and say that Eclipse probably should have picked a mage, and they did. So I'm not gonna hedge my bets fully on Sunbreakers then, because Eclipse did listen to me as the coach. I'm not a coach, by the way. That's just a lie.
But gonna have to see if Phoenix's coaching, official coaching, does come to pass for their fruition. Game 2 coming right up in just a bit. Welcome back, everyone, to the Smite Draft League Godlike Division. Week 3 here between Sunbreakers coming off a nice and clean Game 1 victory and Eclipse trying to make the comeback. The theme of today, the word of today, Phoenix, is kisses. We had the kiss of death last game, and now we've got the kiss of life with Aphrodite. What are our thoughts on that?
Yeah, you and I can kiss after this. We got a red buff being taken, but that's not a kiss, and I do love all the kisses going on in these games. I like this kiss more than the previous kiss, though, and I like it because it feels a lot more supportive and lovable instead of a very much dangerous venomous kiss. I think I had a sound for venomous kiss before, or Cobra's kiss before, and it did not sound like the wah 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 or anything like that, but it was like tss, or something like that. I think the kiss of Aphrodite is like wah.
I'll keep that in mind, buddy, for the sake of the archives. But here in the soul lane, bit of a reversal. Sam keeping ZombieBillyMays under so much pressure. What does this matchup look like? Because Thor's not basic attack reliant, but still feeling the pain.
Feeling the pain, much more ability based on the Thor instead of the Bologna, who is strictly basic attack based. There is really nothing besides. I like the bludgeon. Bludgeon's cool. You can bring it down onto someone's head and do a lot of damage. But that's about it. The sustain that Bologna is going to bring to this lane is going to allow her to survive longer for the first 5 levels or so. And then come level 5, if Thor can get a gank out of Teddy 522, this will switch very quickly. But here you go. Here's the gank.
And it's going to be right onto Sam Squared's head. Unfortunately, going to be boxed up and taken out for later. Excellent work by Eclipse to give Teddy first blood.
I love to see it coming from Teddy in the early game. Early kills for Teddy is a sign of disaster if you're on the enemy team. And it's also a sign of I need to probably go over to that lane that he's going to focus. Might be the solo lane this game. It might not be. We'll see kind of where Teddy leads himself as this game continues on. But you need to be present at those positions as well. AyeGarrett is the next target for Teddy. Will probably not be a kill here as AyeGarrett can kind of just walk out. And I like this matchup of the mid lane, by the way. I like stages versus AyeGarrett on the Marticarus. The Agni should win this lane, but come level 5, it's going to maybe be a little bit of a mixed match. I like Garrett on the Marticarus, though, at level 5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because both can deal damage from decent ways away and just harass, especially stages off the bombing gauge is going to be very safe. Hoping to see that positioning pay dividends, because there were some early kills, unfortunately, against that mid laner early in game 1. So a bit of a change up there. Jordeezzyy, speaking of things that haven't changed, still remaining on the Ganesha. What does that bring to disrupt Sunbreakers comp?
It brings the Ohm is the biggest disruption you can have. Dharmatic Pillars are great, but it's not the same disruption as Ohm. Ohm is what you need against an Aphrodite. If you've got someone really low, you know that Aphrodite is going to be trying to use their ultimate. And that's not going to be allowed, especially because she doesn't have beads. Aphrodite doesn't have beads as of right now. She has Shell, and she's probably going to go with Sprint or Sundering Spear after that as far as relics go. It's a great pickup. Ohm is going to silence out some of these big abilities, and ooh, not a place you want to be if you're CodeSter.
This might be a bad pickup, just trying to get to level 5 with everything he could, but Teddy says no, 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 the big bad bully. The rotation from stages as well, it's a 4-man operation, but the end result's clear. CodeSter goes down.
Oh, I don't know what CodeSter was doing. He got the purple buff, but bit off a little bit too much. Yeah, we'll take it, right? It's just not going to be enough to get level 5 either, and already at level 5 is Teddy522. I love saying his name. You hear I keep saying it. I don't just call him Teddy. I call him Teddy522. It's like a full proclamation because that's how good Teddy is on every single god we put him on. This game, a set, and I do like this pick. I didn't get to talk about it that much, but I said I liked it in the picks and bans, and I'll explain to you why right now. I think that Teddy plays very much so like a dueler. He plays like a 1v1, like we're in a duel match, a ranked duel match. And if a duel match you won, here you go. Set is your god for a 1v1. Susano is your other one for a 1v1 sometimes, but also Susano can do really big tornado. Speaking of 1v1s, this is not one.
This is indeed not one at all. It's a 1v2. In fact, Sam Squared, under a lot of pressure, brought down to less than a quarter and going to be diving aggressively. Good beats to ensure the Roma Victa does not take him out, but brought down just a sliver of health and taking to the skies. Darkest of Nights, the combination will be successful, going to pick up the kill, but the overhead smash gonna bring down ZombieBillyMays like a whack-a-mole. CodeSter gets the return.
I'm so happy to not see a Sun Wukong in this lane because that would have never happened if Sun Wukong was there. He would have just gone up in the air and survived forever. But because you're Bologna, you have to try to run away physically. You can Roma Invicta away, you can jump away, you can dash away as much as you want, but a set is always going to be on your tail. That's something that's not going to happen with Sun Wukong or even a Chalk or anything like that. And there's CodeSter getting a return kill onto Teddy522. We didn't get to see it, but I can kind of tell you what it looks like. It was like a little dance was made because ThyCodester uses ultimate, dun, 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 and then here was Set going, ah, and he died. So that's kind of what happened.
That is a very accurate dramatization. Thank you very much for that, Fenix. And also going to be a nice blue buff drop there for CodeSter, trying to extend that. This time, it was a great initiation onto the buff, not overstaying his welcome whatsoever. I do want to call attention to an aspect of that engagement in the solo lane, which was ZombieBillyMays and RemarkableWolf coordinating those ultimates beautifully. Darkest of Nights going to be a really useful tool to ensure those Anvil of Dawns will land on their targets.
Yeah, CodeSter would have loved to have that last game.
Yeah, it was looking a bit rough there, but hey, he's here now and he's doing a great job on the Hoon bots. And once these team fights begin, I don't know, both junglers are going to bring a lot to the table, but you've got to give the edge to, of course, one of the best ultimates for team fighting in the game on the Hoon bots.
Fear no evil. We talked about it yesterday. iNooblet and I were on a cast and we're talking just about how good that ultimate can be. It can be used for space, it can be used for secure kill, it can be used to peel your teammates. So it can be used for all 3 different things that you need, even more than that. I didn't name everything. There's so many things you can use Fear no evil for. And Hoombot is such a versatile god that he can jump over walls and jump onto targets really fast, as well as teleport to his monkey. It's one of the best gods in the jungle if you're looking to do a lot of different things. That's why I say versatility is the name of the game right now on the side of Sunbreakers. They have a lot of options of what they can do.
And with all those options of mobility, it becomes kind of a question for Jordeezzyy here. He's trying to put Ohm onto the CodeSter. When to drop those Dharmic Pillars, because they have a lot of abilities they can use to get out of it. You have the Bologna ult, you have the Somersault, you have the Death from Above. With that in mind, when do you drop those? At the beginning of the fight to just cause some early chaos, or to sweep up at the end?
I think if you're forcing ultimates off of Dharmic Pillars, that's a win. That's a humongous win. And so if you put down Dharmic Pillars and AyeGarrett is stuck in the middle and forces out his Death from Above, That's a great use of Dharmic Pillars because you got an ultimate that would typically be used to secure a kill or to push someone out. Instead was used just to save his own neck. And I love to see that happen if you're using Dharmic Pillars. But ooh, speaking of saving your own neck.
Gonna have to use it right there, in fact, because Teddy's on the prowl. The bomb going to actually scrape the tail, but not be enough to find the kill. Jordeezzyy in a bit of trouble, but a great Noxious Fume stun there, going to halt the members of Sunbreakers in their tracks. 8 minutes into the game here. A small lead being afforded the Sunbreakers, about 1,700 gold. ZombieBillyMays is going to try to reverse that pressure. Here's the Anvil of Dawn, a bit off the mark, going to land right in the midst of the tower, and some solid damage put onto his back, thanks to the Fear No Evil by CodesTer to just secure their escape. So, all members live today, but some wounds to be licked off.
Very much so, some wounds. And it's funny that that fight happened at 8 minutes into this game. Beacon is not even up yet. As we do pull up the charts, I will ask the question to myself, what do we do if we're on the side of Sunbreakers? I'm chair 1 and chair 2 right now. I'm joking.
You don't even need me. I'll just go, bro. What do they do, Fenix?
What do they do? If you're on the side of Eclipse, as you can see, those bars are going fully into the blue side. That would be the Sunbreaker side. We're looking to go ahead and fight as a good rotation came out from Thor right there, ZombieBillyMays into the mid lane. We can do that more often. This is not what you want to be having happen, though. You don't want to go for
Get out of there. He's your coach. Listen to him. But here's the Darkest of Nights and the rotation from Teddy. Solid damage on a KillcamKenny, going to pick that one up. And now the Gold Fury could be their prize to win. The members are starting to lurk here. They're not sure when to initiate. Going to look for CodesTer first. Jordeezzyy has no backup, though, and Stages has taken quite a bit of damage. Does have some bombs in pockets, but AyeGarrett and the rest of the Animal Squad are looking to surround the elephant and bring him to heal. Dharmic Pillars are just going to be your final resting place, and they're just going to wait a little bit in the fun Disco Square. Gold Fury, kind of an afterthought at this point, but hey, a kill for your name is certainly nothing to complain about.
No rotations from the solo lane there. That was a full 4-on-4 fight situation. It was an equal fight because they were one behind. Sunbreakers was in the kills, and now they're only one behind again. Teddy 5-2.
They might put one back more in their name. Ooh. Teddy's got to really be careful.
Yeah, you getting caught out by Fear No Evil like that, we said, is so versatile. We saw it before be used for pill. We saw it right there be used to almost get a kill. And beads were forced out onto Teddy, which means next time Fear No Evil is up, there's going to be no chance for Teddy to escape from it.
Very true. So hopefully going to see that targeting. Sunbreakers reinitiating onto this Fury. Fenix, do we like it this time?
I do like Sunbreakers pulling the goal for this time. Let's hopefully Jordeezzyy does not have Dharmic Pillars.
But RemarkableWolf is here as well, and Sunbreakers will manage to nonetheless grab it away. Didn't have the most damaging ability in the game. Unfortunate. So, you talked about the rotations. Very lacking here from the solo laners. We saw it a bit earlier, I feel like, game 1. But then again, it's only 10 minutes in here. Who do we think brings more to the fight once they start making those rotations?
Level 12 Bologna, I'll take a look at Salmon at the position that he is currently. If he rotated right now, I think that he would be a better rotation team member to have. But come level 20, I think that ZombieBillyMays will be the better option for a large rotation into a team fight, or come level maybe 18, 17 even. I love a good Anvil of Dawn, but I gotta give it, it's so close because they both do really big things out of the sky. Basically, Roman Victa slams down on the ground and stuns up to 5 targets. If you're gonna do that, that would be crazy. Do that right now. I dare you, Salmon Squared. That'd be crazy if you got a 5-man stun on Roman Victa. But I love both. I love both ultimates, and I'm gonna have to give the edge to late game ZombieBillyMays for a good rotation into a fight.
It's troublesome, though, because each member, as the group stages begin to occur, have fantastic tools to their name. Group them up for 5 members deep. Okay, CodesTer can take advantage of that with a very nice and clean Fear No Evil. So the 5v5 is honestly so ambiguous as to who just naturally comes out on top.
We're going to have to see what happens. I can only guess so much. We might see it here in a couple of seconds because that beacon is up. This is typically the first location that these high-level players will try and challenge to grab. Last game, we didn't see it, though. No one's on it as of right now, though.
You have teleport from the Bologna, but it's going to be expended just to bring them into the fight indeed. So, making some face here, Sam going to put Stages underneath quite a bit of pressure. Stunned out of the bludgeon, but no damage really put into his back. That's just going to be a nice and easy beacon there for the Sunbreakers. Did Eclipse need to show a bit more face, or is that okay? We let that one go.
They let it go last game as well. It was a free one going the way of Sunbreakers. I wish they would have challenged it a bit more. As I said, the rotation coming from Bologna was big, but you can easily answer that from ZombieBillyMays' position. You don't have to just give that kind of stuff up really freely. ThyCodester going to make a gank here on RemarkableWolf.
And gonna have to expend the Rising Jaguar as well as Beads, I believe, to get himself to safety. Darkest of Nights, but might be entering the long sleep in a moment yourself. Heavenly Banner gonna bring him to heaven itself. CJ Lopez gonna put a nice kill. The first one we've seen, in fact, in the dual lane.
Dual lane's been kind of quiet.
Yeah, surprisingly so.
You would not think with these two gods versus each other, you would be quiet at all. Stages, finding the threat right now that is called Death from Above as Garrett wills to get the kill.
A few more seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
25, in fact.
Yeah, 25 is pretty steep at 13 minutes into this game. Tower's going down like it's chess, man. These are pawns.
And that's solid pressure that can be afforded to Sunbreakers. And if you're going to continue to see rotations, the highly impactful ones at this stage in the game from Sam Squared could be troublesome. 5,000 gold lead here from the Sunbreakers. I don't know, man, because the MO for each side, they both team fight so well. So just saying Eclipse needs to hunker down and wait for those later stages doesn't seem like enough of a strategy. What more do they need to be executing on? What god needs to pick up a bit more slack? Who do we need to target? What do we do, Fenix?
I can tell you who does not need to bring up more slack. A 3-in-1 Teddy currently does not need to do much more than he is right now. I said keep that consistent. He has kept it consistent at doing very well this game already. Who needs to bring in a bit more of that threat? I want to bring to your attention AyeGarrett getting murdered.
Indeed he is, but turning it on his tail on his stages, both mid laners just experiencing tons of violence on their head tops, and they will both fall accordingly. Codester might be next. Eclipse going to put some kills on the board, one into Teddy's pocket, just where you like to see it.
Ooh, 6-6. It feels like this game is right to being really close again, but if you look at the gold, that's not the true story at all. It's currently a 5k lead going the way of Sunbreakers, and they could push this lead if they want to. Teddy 5-2 is feeling very threatening against CJ Lopez, who has made a pretty big rotation here into the mid lane, as you saw the kill occur onto our friend Stages already. CJ Lopez here for the Gold Fury, probably setting up towards that. Eclipse needs to challenge the next objective that Sunbreakers go for. That's my answer to your question earlier. They need to start, every objective needs to be challenged.
Hopefully going to see that happen for the next Stygian Beacon and for the Fury if that is indeed picked up soon. Phoenix, I'm going to do something I never do, but I feel safe right now. I feel safe and comfortable at the moment. Okay. So, anti-heal. Let's talk items for a second as this Pyromancer's picked up by Sunbreakers. Do we need to see more from Eclipse?
Yeah, we need to see more activity in this team fight right now because this is the objective. Pyromancer is being taken. It's already down to half health, and Sunbreakers are going to get it for free.
They're letting it go once again. It's exactly what you say. Thor's going to take to the sky, but the Pyromancer's already dropped. Let's drop down on Sam's head instead. Fear no evil going mad. ZombieBillyMays can't get too much damage off. Dharmic Pillars going to force the ultimate, but can you capitalize off it? Doesn't seem like too much. KillcamKenny, immobile, going to be in a bit of trouble here. Does have the dash done to knock him on up, but didn't have the follow-up. Now it's AyeGarrett reversing it on a Teddy. Gonna have to expend both relics to ensure the jungler's safety. Don't want the set to fall. Eagles rally onto the heads of two. Stage is going to live by the grace of the shell. Eclipse looking disoriented, scattered, low health. What can they do in the face of the Bologna? As she begins tanking and spanking the tower, the bomb's going to be put onto the tier 1, and that's going to afford Sunbreakers another structure to fall down. Tries to get down the left side as well. CJ Lopez succeeds in that regard, but ZombieBillyMays has arrived to the scene now. After the double tap, doesn't really have too much to expend. Needs to wait for the rotation from Teddy. I'm not sure if CJ Lopez wants to stick around long enough to afford him that chance. Might not give him the option, though. There's the Yonu's attunement. Once again, opts to not teleport, though. Doesn't have the confidence because Sunbreakers now has the numbers rotating around to heal up and support CJ Lopez. It's a successful engagement on both tier 1s in the left and mid lanes, and that's going to be Sunbreakers' retreat. But the question is, what can Eclipse do off the backs of this? They do have the Gold Fury to potentially engage on.
And they really should. At this point, you're 8k behind. How do you turn 5k into 8k? You do exactly what you just did. And that fight's not over yet.
Solid damage put onto CJ Lopez. Going to be caught beneath the pillars and caught beneath Teddy's heel. Killing spree for the set. Death from above going to be put on a ZombieBillyMays alongside the Fear No Evil. Teddy will go down. Jordeezzyy shortly follows. And Stages is only going to wander blindly into the grass before being put out of his misery by the Marty. Coats are just going to chase them all the way back to Kingdom Come. ZombieBillyMays has got to be careful, not knowing there's a Howler Monkey lying wait in the jungle. That's a solid 3 members down, and Sunbreakers just can just secure a bit more farm.
I was super excited to hear what you wanted to ask me. You said you don't do it that often. You had something you were asking me. I forgot.
Oh no, it's simply, dude, items. What anti-heal should we be seeing and when? I feel like they don't quite have enough to match the output that Kenny's going to have into these fights.
I'm surprised, actually, that Thor did not go Tainted Still. ZBM probably should have gone that, because at that point, you would have had the full reign of all the anti-heal items besides Contagion and Pestilence on the board, or not on the board right now. You have Brawler's Basic, you have Divine Ruin. The ones you're missing...
Got locked in.
Yeah, the 3 you're missing are Toxic Blade, Pestilence, Contagion, and I think Tainted. I think it said Tainted Still. So those are your 4 items you're missing as far as anti-heal goes. I do like the amount they have right now. Is it enough? It's cutting it close. You're cutting it very close up against someone like KillcamKenny, who is healing a ton. We don't see those numbers as of right now. We'll see them at the end of the game, but I expect it to be very high and very good for a support, especially because that's not typically what supports do. I know Yamoja's heal, but Aphrodite, Chang'e, Hell, these are picks that you don't typically see doing support type of things. You see them in mid or in solo or something like that. I love seeing Aphrodite heal high numbers and supply a lot to the team fights, and that's exactly what KillcamKenny has been doing.
And what that means is that the longer a team fight goes, the more Sunbreakers stand to win here. About 20 minutes into the game, now lengthening that gold lead to nearly 9K, and a Fire Giant hasn't even been looked at yet. It's just not looking good. ZBM just having to retreat underneath the scourge of Sam. It's such a problem because we just haven't gotten to see them cohesively work together as a team for those really big engagements. I feel like whenever we've seen kills from Eclipse, it's been oftentimes individual acts of valor.
Independent X, it for sure has been, and you can talk about independent because it's Teddy that's independent in this situation. We have to challenge this power manager if we're Eclipse, if we want to stay in this game, but we don't want to die right now. SalmonSamuel is walking at them 1v4, feeling like, who do we call him? We said his name last season, we'll say his name this season, Heavy Warcry.
Yeah. With impunity, they have to ohm him, and he just is gonna basic you in response. Bologna doesn't care. Gonna have to take to the skies and meet the bomb. AyeGarrett gonna put some solid damage onto his opposition. Fear no evil, going to land right in the midst of it. ZombieBillyMays says, I want to party too. Joins the dance battle a little bit, but KillcamKenny not here to dance, here to kill. Jordeezzyy goes down. Coaster underneath a bit of pressure from the opposing jungler. Teddy is lurking. Gonna have to watch out for that. Stages now. Caught beneath the banner. Is stomped out by CJ Lopez. ZombieBillyMays might be the next one on the chopping block. CJ Lopez grants a nice and clean double kill onto the Hachiman. 3 members of Eclipse down. Sunbreakers have everything to look at here on the right side. Fire Giant might be next. Caught between a dark alley once again. It's the battle we saw of game 1, but both members of it going to agree for a draw. The junglers both live, but the Fire Giant might not be able to stay the same as it drops down to half health.
This is a regular Fire Giant. This is going to go the way of Sunbreakers. There's no one on Eclipse even in the area. And I talked about challenging objectives if you're on the side of Eclipse. And that's not what I'm talking about. Don't take a pre-fight. Let them pull the objective and then go on them. Take the initiation and fight them. Instead, you find yourself in a really bad position taking fights that you do not want to take anymore because one of your members is already down to about half health. And the sad thing is that they have an Aphrodite, you don't. You have a Ganesha on your team, and Ganesha does not have a cute little kiss and like cute little birds that flow out of him. Even though sometimes we wish he did, it does not in this game. I want to bring your attention to 2 different things while we have a little break here. Number 1, stages building Breastplate of Valor. Not typical. For a mid laner, you need more damage. That's not what you want to be building, really. I don't think it's the smartest decision. That's probably one of the reasons of why you're 1 and 4 right now. But we can bring the damage on late game, but we got to get there. And I don't see right now Eclipse is struggling to be able to even get through this mid game with all the objectives they have lost. I think they should take a fight at this Onifear if they want to try to, because Teddy2522 is here in the wall.
I was about to say, is he like cosplaying his Cleater right now? That's crazy. But hopefully going to manage to steal. Sunbreakers don't actually get it stolen away. They grab the Oni Fury for themselves despite the pillars being expended. And now Eclipse, having used one of their major teamfight abilities and on the fritz of all 5 Fire Giant members, have to retreat. No choice, but make sure you're backing safely, my friends. Elephant is not going to oblige. Sam is just going to walk up and contest that with some nice and clean basics. These ohms are always falling onto Sam Squared's head, and I feel like he just never cares about them. But the gates are going to open, and open for ZBM, who's going to now take to the skies in post. They might have stuck around a bit too long, but stages, Breastplate of Valor is not going to help you this time, my friend. Coaster going to grab that kill. AyeGarrett going to sweep up Teddy with a flick of the tail. Jordeezzyy, underneath the Eagles rally, needs to escape from this Bologna. Again, the ohm will not save you. How many times do I have to say it? Coaster gets the double kill. RemarkableWolf up next on the chopping blocks. Gonna be a triple kill there for the Hoon bots. What more is there on the table? It's ZombieBillyMays only, as all the members of Eclipse are just down and out. Can you get the delayed quadra for yourself? He's gonna Berserker's Barrage in the midst of all 5. It's not gonna be successful. Deicide there on the side of Eclipse. Sunbreakers take game 2 and the set itself. Efficient, man. They were efficient. The kiss of life beats the kiss of death. That's the moral of the story, kids.
Yeah, KillcamKenny was the player of that game. I'm so excited to see the scoreboard right here because, or the player results, whatever you want to call them. His healing is going to be out of the wazoo, and I can find it. It's right behind your head, actually. 5,429. Beautiful. The kisses are beautiful. The healing is beautiful. That's all you need. That was a really short game. That was only about a 25-minute game. They got Fire Giant one time. All they needed to be to win that game. I'm very impressed by Sunbreakers and their ability to just win that game so efficiently. And that's what you just said. Efficiency was the name of the game for the Sunbreakers in both game 1 and game 2. It took a little bit longer to get it online in game number 1, but game number 2, it just felt like they were just on cue.
Yeah, they've had a comp, they had a vision, they executed it. Whenever they grouped up, it just felt like you couldn't do much. Sam Squared, man, proving why you had to ban away that Sun Wukong. It felt like the early days of Bologna, man. You were just walking at him, and the Ohm does not do much in face of a Bologna. She can just continue to whack-a-mole you down. It's just a rough scenario for you. They were executing on every single aspect of their comp to brilliant effect. But not to say there weren't brilliant effects as well on the side of Eclipse. I really did like Stage's pick on the Agni, but just really met with brilliant targeting to reverse it, because it's a safer pick than the Martikaros, surely, but unfortunately, if the comms are tight enough, we can just negate that as a factor. And I also must say I really did like the synergy between ZBM and RemarkableWolf. Just wasn't enough to win the day.
Yeah, the synergy across the entire map, right? Because you're talking about that darkness into the Anvil of Dawn was a great situation. That means the communication is happening in the comms, in the Discord. I love to see that as well. I think that Sunbreakers just edged them out in the last game, the second game, in the way of targeting the proper people and not pulling objectives until they got the 3 people that were standing around them, the enemy team, the enemy Eclipse, the enemy, I'm going to call them wonderful looking Weelix representative, the cool logo behind me, whoever they are. Yeah, Suku, standing around. These members are just standing around the objective, and Sunbreakers are like, what are you doing? We're just going to kill you. And so that's exactly what they did, was they said, all right, you're going to stand there, we're going to kill you, and then we're going to take the objective, and then we're going to take another objective, and then another objective, and it just kept rolling for Sunbreakers, as they kept playing exactly like that. Not too much of like a variation of how they played from game 1 to game 2, and I liked that they held on to the things that they won. Teddy522 though, big shout out to him. Great player, and easily can carry some of these games. He almost did it in game number 1.
It's the same strategy for the Sunbreakers in game 2, but a different font. But like you said, there's still absolutely aspects of Eclipse's comp and their gameplay. They have brilliant players on their side, and I know RemarkableWolf is going to be looking at this game with an eye for analytics to find out what they need to improve on, but what they also did very well. And there's a lot to say there. But that being said, that's all we have for you here today at Smite's Draft League. Thank you all very much for watching this godlike set. between Sunbreakers and Eclipse. I've been Deelo. He's been Fenix. We had Nooblet up on the cams and the production. As always, appreciate your work, my friend. And that being said, have a great one, everyone. Appreciate your time.